It's the second week in a row for inventory to climb. We'll take every minor victory that we can get at this point. Inventory and more in this week's Altos Research market report. Every week, Altos tracks every home for sale in the country, all the pricing, all the supply and demand, and all the metrics. And we make that data available to you before the traditional media channels get wise. It's Monday, May 17th, 2021, and here is the data. So home prices were flat this week at $395,000. This is the first week since the start of the year that prices didn't climb week over week. Believe it or not, this is a good sign. This chart of home prices over the last 6 years shows how seasonal pricing works in residential real estate. It is not uncommon for prices to plateau near the end of May. You can see it in 2016 and 2017 on this chart. The absolute peak is more like June 30th each year before the third quarter pullback as families get ready for the fall. Last year was the exception to this pattern as prices kept climbing well into the third quarter. So our suspicion is that we have 4 to 5 weeks of home prices gradually ticking up, and we'll be back more on the normal seasonal pattern. Yay. You can see from this data that home prices are not going to keep skyrocketing dramatically because the leading indicator is the price of the newly listed cohort. That's the blue-green line on this chart. And that's been flat week over week for the last month. Last year, the price of the newly listed cohort, the blue-green line here, was still skyrocketing each week, which preludes the whole market climbing much later in the year. So this line always peaks in May, except last year when it ran through July. So the measure, the price of new listings, leads the active market by a month, which leads the eventual sales by another month, which leads the headlines for those transactions by another month or two. So here's where you see the next 4 months of your home price reports right there. Inventory ticked up this week, yay, to 314,000 active unsold single-family homes. 2 weeks in a row. We're going to gradually increase inventory from here. There are no signs of any distressed mortgages of any kind coming to market. So like there's no big wave, there's no volume, but just little 1% upticks each week, hopefully for a full month or more. Good. It'll give us a little breathing room in the market. Here's another way to track inventory. This chart are the weekly changes in inventory, week to week. Each year, starting normally in February or March, inventory starts climbing as homes get listed for the peak buying season, which we're in right now. Then in the third quarter, listings plateau to decline rapidly in the fourth quarter. This week, at the very right end of the chart, you can see that we've had exactly 3 weeks of inventory rising in over a year. There will be a tendency for the housing market bears to read increasing inventory this year as some kind of sign of like some bubble bursting. But what this is showing us is that we are a long way from having any bear market supply. The bearish signal to look for here would be if inventory is rising when it should be falling. So that opportunity for that will be the fourth quarter of the year. So for a healthy market, we want inventory to rise at least through hopefully August. But as we transition into the fourth quarter, if you're a market bear, that will be the time to test your hypothesis, because the fourth quarter we would expect inventory to fall. And if it were for some reason climbing, that would be the bearish signal to look for at that time. Finally, today, let's look at our immediate sales metric. So recall that this metric, this market has insanely high demand. And so there are so many homes that are getting listed and taking offers essentially immediately. They're selling so fast within hours or days that they're basically bypassing the active market data altogether. So peak buying season is now through May and June. And as rates stay low, there is essentially no reason to expect this phenomenon to back off, at least until July. But ultimately, this immediate sales phenomenon will be a clue to demand returning to more normal levels. So this week, 30,000 immediate sales, actually increasing, on top of 71,000 other new listings. So you can see a little inventory uptick and a very robust sales rate. And there are essentially no signs in the Altos data of demand weakening, certainly not in any unseasonal way yet. But you can be sure that we will share them here first when we see them. As always, subscribe to the YouTube channel to get the latest data. If you're a real estate professional and you work with buyers and sellers, especially now, people are worried about the timing. Should I wait? Should I hurry? You should go to altosresearch.com and just book a demo with us. We'll show you how to use your local data to really help people and grow your business in this crazy market. All right, everyone, more next week.